Good evening, everyone, and welcome so much to Summer of Art 2 here at AnCan. Hannah, you have converted people into believers in themselves because number one, I was just shocked at what everyone produced. It was so beautiful. You made us all into Van Gogh.
Seriously.
Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And we are so proud of all of you. And so if you're returning or if this is your first time, we are so thrilled to have you here. I'm about to hand it off to Hannah, but what I want to say real quick is we want to give a humongous thank you to the Healthy Voices grant with the Community Foundation of New Jersey for providing this for us and providing the supplies. Thank you guys so much. And Hannah, I'm about to send it to you.
All right. Thank you so much, Alexa. You're so amazing with introductions. Thank you so much for that. So welcome, everybody. Even if this is your first time here, we're happy to have you, new or returning. Even if you've never done art before, that is okay. That's why I'm here. That's why we're all here to support each other. We all have some kind of sickness here, okay? I have multiple sclerosis, and art has helped me live my life. And that's honestly an understatement right there. Even though I've been doing art my entire life, the act of making and the act of doing really was put into perspective after I was diagnosed with MS. So this is what I'm here to hopefully teach you a little something and just to have a little fun. That's really what this is all about. So in case you just joined us, let me go ahead and let you know some of the things that we're going to need in addition to the supplies that were sent to you. So we're going to need some water. You're going to need a paper plate or a palette of some sort and a napkin, or some napkins. Actually, I would do maybe 2 or 3, you know. I would, let me go ahead and break down what we're going to need right in front of us. So you can see here our lovely painting right here. And you should have also received a canvas. So this is a canvas board. You should have also received a toothbrush, a paintbrush, and various paints. Now there should be 6 paints total. So we've got your blue, got a purple, a pink, an orange, a yellow, and a white. Most of you guys, if not everybody, should have also received either a paper or something like a foam something to put underneath your canvas. And that's really just to protect your surface. You don't have to use it. I just decided to throw it in there just in case you needed something to protect your table. It's acrylic paint, so it'll come off of most surfaces, but not all surfaces, especially clothing. So just be aware of that. This is why we have the napkins right here. It's best to get it while it's still wet. So I think we're ready to start. If you guys have any questions, please put them in the chat. And Alexa, I would very much appreciate it if you see any questions, feel free to just interrupt me. That's okay.
I'm just going to shout it out, Hannah.
Shout it out. Yes. So let me go ahead and break down our painting. So I actually made a few options for you because acrylic paints, and honestly, really any kind of art supply you can use, it's really great to be able to diversify your portfolio a little bit. So here's one of the examples that I created using the colors that you have here. You can see all the colors that you have, I mean, except for pink. I think I excluded pink, and I used just minimal purple in this one, minimal purple down here and up here. This one right here, I actually decided to create this one earlier today. This one's a little bit more advanced, but I would love to go over how you can create different types of clouds right here, and then do a little something extra with the color down here. It's a little bit more dynamic, I guess. So this is the original. Really, all of that is to say that you can customize this however you would like to do so. If you have any questions about how to do that for yourself, please let me know. Please let us know in the chat. We'd love to help you, or you can raise your hand as well. So let me go ahead and explain what we're going to be doing first. you see these mountains down here? So these mountains, we're going to do these much, much later. In fact, they're going to be some of the very last things that we do. Most of our time is going to be spent on the sky. We have this huge expanse up here, and you'll always see me touching my canvas. And that's because I like to use my hands to get a feel for what kind of space I'm using. My mountains pretty much just take over maybe a hand portion. You can kind of see my hand covering a good portion, or really all of these mountains right here. So that's going to be my basic guide to how much space to fill. So whenever we actually start with the sky, I'm going to be starting way down here. Of course, we're going to be starting with our handy dandy toothbrush. So I hope you guys have fun with this. I really do. I've never taught a class with a toothbrush before, so this will be really interesting. We're going to be starting off really slowly. I want you guys to get a feel for how the paint feels when you're using the toothbrush. We're going to be starting off with white and with yellow. And you can see in these two pictures right here, I have quite a lot of white and yellow, quite a lot. This one, I decided really not to use so much yellow. So what I want you guys to do right now is think about how much of each color you would like to have in your picture. It always helps also to have your colors in order. So my darkest color is going to be on one end, my lightest color on the opposite end. So white right here, yellow, orange, pink, purple, and blue. So if you've ever taken a class with me, you'll know that I drop things and I fling things everywhere. It just happens. So bit of a warning right there. Okay. So again, think about which colors you want in your background and how much of each color you want in your background. Like I pointed out earlier, this one has no pink in it at all. It really jumps from orange here straight into blue. So think about the amounts of each of those. It has just a teensy bit of the purple there, and that's it. It also has stars right here in the background too. Both of these have stars. And I'll show you guys how to make stars. That one's a little bit messy to make stars, so I'm going to make this optional. You don't have to put stars in here. And really any part of this painting is optional, okay? I'll get into the clouds and the mountains in a little bit. So what do we want to do? Let's go ahead and pour out our colors. I would say just a little bit at a time. Hopefully your palette will be a little more clean, a little cleaner than mine.
So Hannah, real quick, because you gave us so many
Yes.
different color options, and
I
I love
did.
that, because one of the things I loved about last time is we saw many variations of the same thing, but what are the colors we need to have, and what are the ones that it's more optional?
I would say you need to have your white, yellow, and orange. I would say those are probably the most important ones. The pink, the blue, and the purple, those are optional. Very good question, Alexa. That's a really good question. So I'm just kind of pouring everything out. You can always pour more of your color. So a little at a time. That way we don't waste too much paint. So I'll give you guys a moment to do that. Please let me know if I'm going a little too fast. Sometimes I just tend to breeze through these things. Please tell me.
It's
I'll
taking a
let you
while to
go.
get the plastic off. This is
Ah,
Master. Thank you.
yes, yes. So let's go ahead and give you guys some time for that.
Hannah, would you provide us some background music, perhaps?
Hoo-hoo. Would you? So sometimes I like to, what do I do? I like to,
She likes, yeah. She's pretty amazing.
I sing in meows, guys. I can't really sing, but I sing in meows. It's just easier that way, right?
I think
especially when
so.
you don't know the lyrics. Meow, 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 meow.
Yeah, you can meow anything at that
Just
point.
meow it. Exactly. Just meow it. If it's in a different language, just meow it.
So Hannah,
Okay.
just while everyone is also undoing their plastic, a question I would have is, do colors need to be together? Like, how should we pattern lightest to darkest? Are there colors that play better together?
Yes. So that actually brings me to a wonderful
spooky, don't I?
resource. that brings me to a wonderful resource that I believe it was Bob that sent me. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, how do I explain colors? There is a website called Canva. And so Canva has this little tool you can use to look at analogous colors. So colors that are side by side. That's what we're going to be doing. It's best to look at the color wheel and figure out what colors are next to each other, because those are always going to look really good. So I'm actually going to look for my resource. I had it out because I wasn't sure if I was going to show you guys. So you're welcome to look at this if you want to. I'm not going to bring it up, but let me send it to everyone. It's a little link that'll bring you to a resource that I think is good to have. It's good to just look at the color wheel and figure out what colors look great because they're right next to each other. So if we're thinking about the color wheel or the rainbow, that's what's going to look best. Now, here's an exception though. This one right here, you're not going to find orange next to blue. In fact, these are opposite colors. You put these colors next to each other and they're going to turn out a little bit more brown. And I have definitely seen skies where they just jump from a bright color into the darker atmosphere. So it's a little bit more risky to do that, but you can definitely do that with the techniques that I'm about to show you.
Okay, so Hannah, I see people pouring their paint. So I think we're real close.
Awesome. Perfect. I will be using white and yellow first, just so you guys know.
Okay.
So white first and then yellow, to be more specific. White first, then yellow. I'm just going to scooch these out here. And just so everybody knows, let me put this up a little bit. When I hold my toothbrush here, I'm going to be moving it back and forth. Now, because of the placement of the camera, I can't really hold it perfectly. So you're going to see me move it side to side like this. But you guys, I would love for you to hold it like this. Horizontally, back and forth. Our brush strokes are all going to be horizontal. So I think we can go ahead and get started. Yes.
Is that the brown paper that you're using or the canvas?
That is the canvas. So I am on... Yes, on the canvas.
Thank you.
All right, so white paint first, and then I'm going to go into yellow paint, okay? It's very forgiving, so pay attention to the types of movements your hands are making. I'm going to tap, tap, tap some white paint, and I'll probably have the need for more white paint. So like I said, you're going to see mine move like this because of the placement of my my ring light, but I want you guys to move it up and down like this. You can press down if you want to, but you really don't have to. If you have enough paint on your toothbrush, it'll carry you without you having to press down so hard. Here's another little trick for your white paint. This may not work for your other colors, but at least for your white paint, you can pour it down like that. I'd be wary of doing that for any other colors, but for your white paint, you're fine. Try and reach edge to edge. So I've left a little bit of space right here, maybe about 2 or 3 fingers, a little bit of space there for our mountains. But I'm going to move upward because we want a nice base coat of white paint. Now, even if it's a little lumpy, you have a lot of paint on your canvas, that's all right. If you ever feel like you have too much paint at any point, that's why you have your napkins and you have your water. So remember how I told you guys to think about how much of each color you'd like in your painting? Well, do you want a lot of yellow or do you want just a little bit of yellow? Well, it just depends on you. How much yellow you add just kind of depends on what you want. I'd say this is a lot of yellow. In fact, this is a huge portion of yellow. It takes up, I'd say, maybe even about half the canvas with that one. However, with this one, you can kind of see it blending into the orange right up here, but for the most part, there's really not too much yellow right there. So think about that. If you have an excess amount of white, like I have a lot of white, I'd consider that a lot of white paint. Go ahead and rinse your brush and wipe it off. It's going to be very important to wipe it off. And I'm going to show you an easy way to rinse these brushes is to very loosely let it hang in your water, swish it back and forth or around. It doesn't matter as long as you swish it. That's the important part. If you can hear the water swishing around in there, you're doing a great job. Then you go in. It's not going to come out completely clean. It's definitely not going to be completely clean, but that's why you have your napkins. Kind of squeeze the bristles there. Make sure you get a good amount of water out of there and you're ready to go. Now, a secret to blending. You can blend very well while the paint is still wet. I like that, Alexa. You just swish it. So we want to blend while it's still wet. And that's why I'm going to go ahead and add it right now. This is my yellow. Tap, tap, tap. I'm going to start with just a little bit at a time because I just want to see how it flows. I'm going to start a little bit above my white paint. My white paint ends there. A little bit above my white paint. Back and forth, and we're going to swish down. We're going to move downward. The reason we're moving downward is because we want that wet white paint to blend. Going to add, I feel like I need a little more yellow. So I'm going to start where I started previously. I put my toothbrush right there. I'm going to start where I started previously and move further down that way. Now you can move upwards. If you see these globs of paint, you can move up a little bit like that, move down again and up again and down again. Hopefully you kind of see the picture. I've decided on my picture that I don't want too much yellow. I don't want nearly as much yellow as I had in the previous picture. So I'm keeping that in mind. Now, this next part, just in case you have a lot of streaks down here, actually, I'm going to put a streak in there. So don't do this right now, okay? I'm going to make a streak because I want you to see what you can do to get rid of that. You want to blend that. Wipe your brush off on your napkin, just a little bit. You don't need to rinse it, just wipe it. Take a lot of white paint. Tap, tap, tap that white paint. Scrape it, actually. I'm going to scrape a lot of white paint. And let's start right on top of this spot. Back and forth and back and forth. That's going to help to soften it. Back and forth, side to side, edge to edge. Now, how are we feeling? Does anyone want me to take a look? If you do, that's okay. Let me know.
I see so many faces in concentration. I love it.
Yep. Yep. I see that. Lots of concentration.
Oh, John and Party Monster. Oh my gosh, love it.
Oh, there we go. John, I see yours. Nice blend. That's a good blend. Party Monster, I'm looking for you. Didn't see you. Oh, George, I see you. That's a lovely blend. Beautiful.
Hi, can you go over how to do the blend again,
Yes,
please?
of
Thank you.
course.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start over from the beginning, okay? Let's just
Okay.
pretend I don't have anything there.
Okay.
So that being said, let me rinse my brush. We want to start off with white paint.
Right. I have that. I'll show you what I have.
Oh,
Let
yeah.
me just show you
Yeah.
what's happening right here.
There we
It just
go.
doesn't, I don't see a blend yet. It's like yellow and white, but I don't
So
see it like a blend yet.
I'm gonna go ahead and replicate what you have. So everybody else don't do this, all right? I'm gonna replicate what she has. There's a very hard line right there. Do you see that? I mean, that's what I think I see.
Yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
good. That's what I see. Okay. So we can get rid of that by taking your white paint,
Okay.
and I actually need to grab more white paint. So let me do that. But
Okay.
take a lot of white paint. In fact, I have not rinsed my brush. I still have yellow and I just put white on there. That's a good thing. We want that. We want a lot of white paint on top of that.
Okay.
And then we're going to start underneath, right on the white paint, right where it hits the yellow. Start there and work your way up and really squish in your brush. Now, if I need, it looks like I need to add more, definitely add more. But I'm adding it right at that border right there.
Okay.
And the more I can go over my brush strokes consistently again and again and again, the more it can blend.
And Hannah, this can apply to any type of acrylic paint project you do.
Yes.
You can use this technique.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely. There we go. This swishing, blending, going over your brush strokes again and again. That's how you blend things, especially when it's really wet like that.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Good. Now for mine, in case you guys have this problem too, I'd like to bring back a little bit of white paint right there. You see that? I'd like to make a little bit more of a blend. So for me personally, I'm going to rinse my brush because it has a lot of that yellow paint on it. You'll notice that using acrylic paint is a lot like a balance. It's a balancing game. If you want more of one color, then add more of that color. Try and balance it out as much as you can. So I'm going to do my best to get this yellow off. Swish, swish, swish. Now, Alexa, I saw your comment about the 80s reference. And I would like to be let in on the joke because sometimes jokes just, bam, go right over my head.
There's a song, You Must Whip It. Da, 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 you must whip it. So it's when your brush gets dirty, you must swish it.
You must swish it.
It's my remix to it,
Thank you.
Because we're being creative tonight.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I love that. Isn't that? Oh, I know.
That's a song by Devo.
Yes. I knew the name of the band. I was just like, couldn't think of it. Okay. So I cleaned my brush. I'd like to add a little more white paint. I'm going to do that. Right there. I'm starting right at the bottom there. I'm going to go back and forth with just the white paint. Right at that bottom there. Of course, I need more. Of course I do. And in a moment, we will start to move on to other colors. So as soon as I've got that white paint on, we can move on. Now, by this point, this area up here might be a little bit dry for you. So if you happen to have just the pure form of yellow, go ahead and reapply that yellow. Now I'm going to do that. I'll show you what I mean in just a second. I'm going to do that. So if you want to watch me, you can watch me. I'm going to reapply that yellow, and then we'll move into orange. Now, once again, those three colors are probably the most important colors. The rest after that, it's up to you which ones you want to do. Now, of course, it's going to get a little more complicated after that, but you've been warned. Have fun with it. Okay, so now I am going to reapply some of this yellow, and really I'm just going to go right above my yellow spot right there. Gonna go back. I do want a lot of this yellow. We're going to move upwards just a little bit. Moving upwards just a teensy bit. Now, the goal of, or the reason we're adding this yellow here is because we want that orange to mix with it. So basically, it's like we're putting a bed of yellow. It's going to be a nice cushion so that it blends in. Now, I know I said to add just a little bit, but I would say add just a little bit more than just a little bit. Does that make sense? I don't know. There we go. So I'm going to go upwards a bit more. Again, I want more cushion. I want it to blend. And it's wet, so it'll be able to blend. And because I don't want it to dry any more than this, I'm going to take my dirty yellow brush, tap, 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 a little bit of that orange. And once again, we're going to start above our line here, above our yellow line to be exact. Back and forth. As we move downward, it's going to start blending. You see that? As we move downward, it's going to blend. And there we have it. Now, hopefully that was a little bit easier. That's our third color. Hopefully it's a little easier. If it's not, that's okay. We're still learning. Now I am going to move just upwards just a little bit with my pure orange, because for my next color, once again, I want that cushion. I want the transition into the next color to be nice and smooth. So we want lots of cushion. So lots of paint, moving up just a little bit. Now I am going to add pink. Maybe I'll pause. I don't know if I'm going too fast again. I'll pause.
And Hannah, we can also use the exact same technique that you showed us for blending with other colors too, right? So even
Exactly.
if we nailed the first one or the second one, we just use the color that was below it and just blend, right?
Exactly.
Good.
Like
Okay.
you just use the color that was below it, move a teensy bit up, and blend whatever color you want to do next. And if anybody wants me to show them the other examples again, I'm more than happy to do that. So just let me know. See lots of concentrated faces. Now, here's oh, here we go, Lucinda. That's beautiful blend. I love that. Very cool. Thank you. I'm looking for more faces. You're more than welcome to hold up your picture if you want to show us.
Yes, we
I
will
love,
find you.
yes, we will. I love seeing in progress
Barbara and
faces.
George, oh my gosh.
Oh, there we go.
And Misty.
Love it. And Amina, lovely. You fixed it. Beautiful.
If we had confetti,
Very
we'd throw
cool.
it right now. And Tom, oh my gosh, Tom, that's beautiful.
Oh, there we go, Tom. That's lovely. I love that. Very cool, guys. So before it gets a little too wet, oh, there we go. Party monster. There you go. Love it. Cool, you guys. Okay, before it gets too dry, I would love to add pink, but if anybody wants to see me jump to the next tier, I can do that. I can go into purple. The next color after the pink would be purple and then blue. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do
Can you
that. just
definitely do
to-
purple?
Yeah, you want me to do purple? I'll do purple. Because I feel like pink is the easy, natural transition. If you could do the orange the same, or if you could apply the orange the same way, you could definitely do the pink next. So please, if you want pink, do that one next. But if you want that crazy jump, I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to tap with my dirty brush the purple. Now, here's a little bit of advice. The purple and orange are opposite colors. So look at that. They create brown. We're going to embrace the brown here. See how I added just a little bit? And I am going to add just a little bit more. But this brown is just going to have to be there. It's just natural. It's naturally what purple and orange create. So we're going to go with it. But we're going to blend it smartly, the same way we blended everything else. Now, I'm not going to go down too far. I can see that most of my purple, the majority of it is gone. It's disappeared. But we can always add more of that. But we needed to get through that brown phase first. So once you have that bit of brown, go ahead. Yeah.
Hannah, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Does this stuff come off if it gets on your computer?
On your computer? Yes, it does.
Yes,
Just
it
wait for it
doesn't
to dry.
stick. Yeah, just
Yeah.
wait for it to dry and it will come right off.
Yeah. It's
It
closed.
was-
It's a little
it
iffy.
splashes.
Oh yeah, it'll come off. Just wait for it to dry. No worries there. My computer is covered in it anyway. So go ahead and wipe the brown off of your brush there. I wouldn't really rinse it. I would just kind of wipe it. And now we can jump straight back into purple. Now,
What about those of us who did pink? Alexa?
yes, so those of you who did pink, it should look something like this. So you may have a section of pink that'll look a little bit like that. And you can see behind the clouds here, I can still see some of my orange back there. It would have stretched right across there and blended right in with the pink, just like that. So that's for you guys. You can actually see a little bit of that right here in this other one. Ta-da. Now that's pink,
Should we do
but
purple after the pink then?
yes, do purple. Now I'm adding lots of purple right here. For me, I feel like purple should take a good chunk of my picture. I'm personally noticing that some of my other colors, not just the orange, but some of my other colors are leaking through. So I am going to take this moment to clean my brush. You guys are more than welcome to clean your brush too, if you see that happening. Once again, just kind of swishing it. Switch it good. Gonna wipe it. I just want to say that you guys are doing fantastically. You really are.
Is the color that you put in after the orange purple?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yes, it's purple. Yes, correct.
thank you.
Mhm. There we go.
Would the softness of the bristles affect the blending if you used a different toothbrush?
If you use a different toothbrush, that's a good question. I don't know. I only bought the soft ones. Good question. No, you know what? I don't think so, because the medium is not that much different in hardness from the soft ones. At least, I mean, I'm sure you can feel it in your mouth if you're using it, but I don't think it'll have too much effect on the canvas. There we go. The only thing I would avoid is using a hard bristle brush. It just seems like too big of a jump. Okay. And just so everyone's on the same page, the last color you should be using is the blue. If you even want any blue at all, you don't have to. In the original picture, I didn't put any blue in the sky at all. Of course, I need to pour a little more purple out. These are some great questions, you guys.
And Hannah, also because this is being recorded, if you want to do one of them, like color scheme tonight, and then another color scheme another night, you are not limited. We would love for you to do this in your own time and have this be a good practice for you. So absolutely feel free. If you don't love the one tonight, go make another one.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, this is going to be on our YouTube page for everyone to see. So please do some more and send us pictures too. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
All right. I'm not getting the brown.
You're not getting the, oh, I wonder if your orange was a little too dry.
Oh boy.
That could be it. Hey, that's
Probably.
okay.
Okay.
Here's what you can do. Remember that,
Okay.
remember I was talking about balancing?
Yeah.
Well, rinse your brush and go back to that orange. Start on top of your orange and go upward.
And go
start on the
upward.
orange. Yeah. Like move upward overall.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hope that made sense. Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Perfect question. Good. Perfect. Is the blue supposed to go all the way to the top of the canvas? Yes, I would say either the blue or the purple. Definitely start to fill up the rest of that space, no matter what color you have. So that actually is a great segue. I was just about to add this blue. So once again, starting the same way, got my dirty brush, starting a little bit above my purple. And I'm going to completely fill in the rest of the space. Moving it down into the purple just to get that blend. And then I'll go ahead and put the rest, or put the blue in the rest of the sky. Back and forth. I don't know about you guys, but I love this sound. I love the sound of the toothbrush against the canvas. Now for me, in order to just keep everything blended, I'm just moving mine downward a little bit. And there you have it. Don't forget also to move your head away from your canvas a little bit and give your eyes a little bit of space between the canvas and your face, because you'd be surprised at how often we get so close to our pictures. It's true. It's true. I see it all the time. Yeah, so look at it from afar a little bit. See how you did.
It's the same thing as holding up a project you're crocheting after you've been working on it for 20 minutes and seeing, does this even make sense?
Does this make sense? Yeah. I'm not a crocheter, but I can definitely see how that would work.
Mhm.
Very cool, guys. Keep going all the way to the top. After this, I will show you how to do the optional stars. And also the optional different kinds of clouds. Again, very optional. And for these clouds right here, you'll want to get it while it's wet. That will be the next step, only if you like these clouds. If you don't like these clouds, don't do these clouds.
Hannah,
That's
can I go back with a question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
On my purple and blue, it was like my brush was wet, but I kept drying it out. But my colors aren't solid like yours. They're very streaky.
So they're not solid. It was like the brush is wet. Oh, I see that. Interesting. I'm not sure.
When I was putting it on, I had,
Mhm.
just like all the blue or just all the purple. And it was like it was being diluted by
Streaky.
water, but my brush was dry. I kept
Hannah, I
Trying
wonder
it
if he
out.
goes over it again. If he
Yeah,
did another layer.
Yeah, I think you could do that for yours. Let it dry. Let it dry for maybe 3 minutes or so, 2 minutes. Start from the top this time. So you're going to start on your blue and
Okay.
then make those same brush strokes downward. And then you'll switch into it's almost like you're doing the opposite directions.
Okay.
Then you'll switch into your purple and blend up, because you're wanting to blend this area.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. And you know what? If I had an extra canvas, I'd love to show you. Okay. So all those who want stars, once you are finished completely with your background, go ahead and rinse your brush. And again, these stars are optional. You don't have to put them in. I can show you what they look like yet again. So this is what they look like in the original painting. They're just little dots. And they're really fun to make. You will get messy. Your fingers will get messy for this part. So if that's a factor, keep that in mind. If you have your computer screens a little bit too close, just beware. Maybe put a piece of paper over it, because we will be sort of, what do you call this motion? Like, I don't know what you call this. Like, no.
It's like you're flicking it.
Flicking it. Thank you. That's much better.
Or like plucking?
Yeah, plucking, flicking.
Okay.
So we'll
Yeah.
flinging your fingers. I don't know. Okay, so clean brush. I mean, as clean as it can be. At the very least, it's dry. So for these optional stars, we can tap, tap, tap. Look at that, tap, tap, tap. I really just want this white paint on the surface there. Tap, tap a little on, then tap, tap a little off too. Like I'm going on the side here, tapping a little off. If you have paper, it'd be a good idea to do a little test, and just to see if you can kind of get some of these off. Here we go. I can see some of these little globs right there. You'll be getting some of those globs off by doing that. Now you'll angle it toward your canvas, angle it downward, and then fling. It's so easy to get ahead of yourself and do lots of stars. If you get little globbies like that, you can always cover it with a cloud. That's probably something I should have added earlier. Clouds are great for covering up the parts of the sky that we don't really want. In fact, I did that on several places in the last picture I did. So that little globby right there, I'll put a cloud over that in a minute. So you're definitely going to have paint on your fingers. So be sure to wipe that away, unless you don't mind, of course. Oh, Kim has a
Love to
shooting
see
star.
it.
That's awesome. I love that.
So how do we fix it if we have too much of a glob?
Too much of a glob. I would leave that spot for what's too much of a glob? Like, would you be able to go over it with the cloud?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because otherwise, if you were to wipe it with a napkin, you would probably end up wiping off some of the paint underneath it. So it's a little risky for that. So just kind of watch out. And we'll probably be jumping into the clouds next, because I think everybody should be dry enough to add the first layer of clouds. Now, is there anybody who wanted to do these funny looking clouds up here, the messy looking ones? Because I would say that those are probably best if it's really wet. However, mine's not wet enough for these kinds of clouds. Okay. Okay. I mean, if nobody wanted to do it, that's okay, you know?
I do.
Okay. So here's what we can do. We can take our brush and I would create, look at what you have, look at the color you have up here, your very last color, and tap a little bit of white and a little bit of that color as well. Little white, little of that color. So for me, it's blue. And then once again, this is the optional portion. This is for the funny looking clouds. Okay, so don't do this part if you don't want those clouds. So now I've been able to tap a little bit of a light blue right there.
My leg is, ow.
Oh no.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Take your time. Now I'm actually smushing this color into my brush a little bit. Smushing this light blue into my brush. Now you tell me when you're ready, okay?
Lucinda is getting the right proportions on the toothbrush. We're watching a master at work, everyone.
I love mixing colors. It's one of my favorite things to do. Okay, cool. We're good. All right. So again, this is for the funny looking clouds. These clouds, I'm going to point my brush in the direction that these clouds are moving. They're moving upwards like this. So that's how I'm going to create them. I'm going to scrub it in there, but I'm also going to give it a little bit of like, I'm going to use my wrist to sort of put it in there like that. So start at the top, scrub, 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 kind of like a scrub and a scribble. I'm running out of paint. I'm going to grab a little more. And scrub, 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 and scribble. And that's it. It's supposed to go very quickly. That's how it's supposed to look. It's supposed to look very scratchy, not blended in. Well, I mean, that one is a little bit blended in, but we're going to make it work. Now for everybody else, here's what you can do. For you guys, we're going to start off with a base of white clouds, but I'm going to give you the option to add another color on top of that. Take a look at the differences between these two pictures. Everybody here is going to start off with the white clouds, but you have the option to keep them white, or you can add a little bit of another color on top of it. I decided to add purple right on top of my clouds because that's the last color at the top here. So whatever your last color is, you can add that. But I'm honestly like you, if you want to add blue, that's going to work too. That'll be totally fine. I just wish I had an example for you. But again, let's all start with white. It'll give us a nice foundation. So rinse off all the other colors that you have on your brush. Wipe it. And we're going to go for that white paint. And I'm going to tap, tap, tap that white paint on, mostly onto just the top of my brush. That's going to be where most of the action is going to happen, just right up here. These clouds, I can show you a better example with this one right here. I want to show you the shape of the clouds. I'm going to start off with the bottom here. It's flat. And then I'm going to add some scribbles, and they're going to be very, very dreamlike. They're going to be very round. So remember how I said you can cover up those portions that you don't really like so much? Well, now's the time to do it. So I actually do love these portions here, but I'm just going to pretend I don't like that one spot. So I would just start by going back and forth. That's the bottom. And I'm not pressing down hard. Like I said, all the action is just right up here. It's not pressing down hard. Make that straighter line, barely even touching it in some areas. And then I'm going to pick my most bulbous area, and I'm going to start to swirl it. It's going to look scratchy. It's going to look like you might need a little bit more paint at some point, and we'll add more paint. Tap, tap, tap a little bit more of that paint anytime you feel yourself running out. It's going to move into smaller cloud round parts. I don't know what you call it. Barely touching some areas.
Hannah, I think the technical definition is floof. The cloud floof. It's actually not, but
floof. You know, I thought you said floof, like with a TH. And I was like, how did you know that, Alexa?
No, just floof. F-L-O-O-F, floof.
We got some floof. Yes, yes, thank you. She's my technical term expert here. So got some floof there. Now that's just one cloud. You're welcome to add as many clouds as you would like. You can even see, I even put some streaks down here just to kind of like, once you get a better handle of it, you can put some streaks in there. I wouldn't do that right away. I chose to do 3 clouds in that one. You can see 3 clouds in this one. Really what I'm saying is 3 is the magic number, but you're feeling confident, do more. See that? The ones that you do further up, positioned upwards on your painting, those will probably be covered up by other clouds, ones that you put lower here. I mean, not always, it may not always happen, but that's just sort of a general rule of thumb. So I'm going to stretch that. Add more floof to it. Now, personally, I'm kind of liking the way these white clouds look in contrast with the brown right here. I'm really loving that. I might end up keeping mine, but I will end up showing you guys how to put some color in there. You might just see me add a little bit more white paint later, because I just like that. I like the way it looks. I think for me, I'll add another one down here. And because I'm starting lower, I have the option of turning this one into a big cloud that covers up a little bit of this one back here. Again, it's very, very streaky. You can definitely see a little bit of your canvas underneath it. I'm gonna make some of my little flutes going off the edge over here. I think this one might be my favorite. I'm actually really happy that I added these clouds back here. So quiet again. Oh, it's concentrating. I can't wait to see the end result. You guys got this.
Can I show you my clouds?
Yes. Who
They're-
is speaking? I
they're-
don't.
They're weird, but I
I'm trying
can
to.
see what. Can you,
Sorry,
can
I'm
you see?
I'm trying to find your
It's
screen. Where
Amina.
are you? Oh, there you are. I could not find you.
Oh.
Oh, your sky is gorgeous, though.
Thank
My
you.
goodness, I love it.
Thank you. These clouds, though, I'm gonna do this painting over and over again until I get because I have tremors in my hands. I have MS.
Ah,
So
yeah.
the idea of painting is like, really? And this is great. I love this class, and I'm just gonna keep
Yeah.
on doing it until I can get it to where I feel it's, the way I want it to be.
Yes. And you know
And-
what? You know what though? Can I just like tell you one of those things that one of those ideas that has stuck with me because I have MS? It's the fact that our brains are plastic. Even though we have MS, yes, MS tears us down.
Right.
But I feel like with art, at least, we have the
Mhm.
capability of growing our brain, increasing a little bit of that neuroplasticity with a little bit of that practice. And so I love that you're gonna do it again and keep on
Yeah.
trying.
Yes, thank
I
you.
love it. Can I maybe see? I think you might be able to use the round brush too. So we haven't picked this one up yet, but since
Okay.
you're struggling with it a little bit, I think
Alicinda, that looks really good. And Robin, oh my gosh.
lovely.
And Barbara.
Wow,
And
Lucinda, those
John
clouds are
Ivory
awesome.
and Holly.
Mine, I think I have too much white and I've just sort of made 3 blobs instead of clouds.
Oh my
No, they're
goodness.
just dense flutes.
Okay.
beautiful.
Misty,
Thank
that's
you.
beautiful too. I see you,
Thank
Misty.
you.
I love it.
And John, those are the kind of clouds you want to sleep on.
Okay.
And George, that's
Absolutely.
beautiful.
I know, George.
Party
I love it.
monster.
I love that you
and
went over it again.
Matthew.
Oh, you guys were awesome. They're turning out so good, guys. Okay, so just real quick, in case you wanted to try this, Amina, you can try to use your round brush, and I did wet it. There's a little bit of water on here. I wet it in my water.
Okay.
I'm gonna grab a little bit of the white paint though. It's it's not too much. It's not very globby, but in the middle of your globs here, you can try and swirl it around a bit, or even
Yes.
swirl it around, or even use that water to your advantage. See how I'm squishing the brush down a bit like that?
Yeah.
that water will help you to blend it.
Okay,
I hope that helps.
definitely. Thank you.
Okay, good, good. And this goes for anybody too. If you're struggling with the clouds, that's okay. You can pick up your round brush too. And in fact, that's actually a great segue into the next part, our last part. I love this portion, okay? I love mountains. They just make me so happy to see. And I had always wished that I could capture the mountains that you see when you have all that haze. You see these rows of mountains. The background is a little bit more blurry and it's lighter in color. As it moves forward, it gets a little bit darker, very dark actually, at least in this picture. So I have here my mountain color. So choose a mountain color that can be purple or it can be blue, unless you really want to go off the rails, do your own thing, you do it, okay? Whatever color you choose to have your mountains, mix white, so a lot of white. Technically it's white, and then you mix a little bit of your color in the white. Then you add a little bit more of your color. That's going to give you your middle tone. Then you add not so much white, honestly, for the front portion here. And for those of you guys who would like to know a little tip, I guess, a little painting, a little bit of painting advice. And you guys definitely don't have to do this, okay? But if you want to make your colors a little bit more dynamic, rather than just using the colors straight out of the bottle, and make them a little bit darker, for example, you can always mix the colors opposite into your main color. So if you, and I wish I had that picture of that color wheel, but blue is the opposite of orange on the color wheel. So, but since my main mountain color is blue, I decided to add a little bit of orange into my mountain color. And that just makes the color a little bit more richer, a little bit more professional looking. So add the opposite color. So if you want if your main mountain color is going to be purple, you would choose yellow. Purple goes with yellow. Those are the opposites. But honestly, orange would do just fine too. Anyway, I can repeat all of that if you want your mountains to look a little bit more dynamic, but otherwise you can absolutely use the color straight out of the bottle. In fact, for this one right here, my colors are blue. So let me show you how to do it that way. I do need to add more paint, more white paint. I probably didn't need that much, but oh well. So I'm going to take some of my white here and let's add a teensy bit of blue to that just to make it a baby blue. I wanted it to be a little bit lighter than that blue I made right here. That's just me. It just depends on how much, really what you want, what kind of lightness you want. Now, I would definitely use a lot of paint on your brush. Let me show you these mountains. I want to show you the shape of these mountains. It's not super important, but for some of you guys, maybe it is. Because our first layer of mountains are way in the back, we're not going to be able to see very much detail, and therefore they're going to be smoother mountains. You're not going to see as many pointy peaks in there. And it's just a tiny detail. It may not matter to you, but it would matter to me. So I'm going to start with the mountains that are far back there. Squish my paint down. Using a lot of paint on my brush. I can always refill for some more. It's okay if your brush looks a little bit, if your brush strokes look a little bit globby. They will dry perfectly, perfectly flat. again, those peaks, if you care about that, those peaks are a lot more smooth because we're not seeing very much detail.
And Hannah, if you could give us like a percentage of the picture, like where do we start the first one?
Good question. So maybe about hand length, or perhaps even 3 fingers for 4 fingers. Maybe 4 fingers is a safe route. So if I wanted to, I could give myself more mountain space by dragging it upward and just sort of following my lines. So about 4 finger spaces up, maybe 3, depending on you. Using the toothbrush was fun, but it's kind of nice to be back to a brush. There we go. Are there any questions? You guys keep throwing great questions at me, so keep it coming. Keep it coming.
How far do we go down?
You don't have to go very far. Honestly, most of this is going to be covered up anyway. So, very good question. Maybe like 2 or 3 layers down. Something like that. I don't know if that helps give you a reference point. Now, my next layer, that's going to be my middle section. So right over here. So I'm going to have a little less white paint now. It's going to be more of my color. It's not the pure form of my color, but definitely more of it. So here's what it looks like when I mix it. I'm taking my blue, putting that into my paint pile. And I can see it's becoming a nice little medium. Now, if you were trying to go for that more dynamic bit of color where you're adding the opposite color, that now would be the time to add a little bit of that opposite color. So for me, I can add a teensy little bit of the orange. But again, if you're just going straight out of the bottle, no need to do anything extra. There we go. Okay, so these mountains are going to peak up above, well, just below, that's the opposite, just below these mountains. And I'm going to drag my line downward like that. Now, if it matters to you, we would be able to see in real life, we would be able to see some of these pointier parts of these mountains. Still a little bit more rounded, but you know, we'd be able to see a little bit more detail. Now, I didn't make enough, so I'm gonna pause for a second and make more of my middle color. For anybody having some doubts about their painting, you're all doing fantastically, but there were times in my MS journey, you know, just trying to recover. That's basically what I was doing, trying to recover, trying to do art and trying to figure out who I was as an artist, but also as a person again. I would often have that there's a Beatles song, Let It Be, that would pop into my head very, very, very often. And Let It Be kind of became my mantra, really, anytime I was doing art. let it be, because that's just what my art is going to be. And I'm going to keep practicing, and I'm going to keep going and doing my thing. And it's going to be, and my art is going to grow with me the more I keep doing it.
And not to mention, Hannah, nature is not symmetrical or perfect.
Exactly. It's not symmetrical at all. So don't expect your hand to be symmetrical, so to speak. Now, just a note here for you guys. I feel like my middle mountains here could be a little bit lighter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over what I have again with a little bit of a lighter version of this color, just so you guys know. But yes, anytime you need that little bit of boost, think of that song, Let It Be. It's a good one.
You know, Hannah, the great thing about this group while everyone's working on their mountains is there's a book called The Same Kind of Different as Me. And I'm pretty sure it's about cancer, but all of us in here have some sort of diagnosis that ties us all together. I'm in the thyroid cancer community, but I love that we have that communal thing. And I love that you shared that, you know, you were an artist before your MS diagnosis. You were already an artist. So, I mean, even for you with being diagnosed with MS, you've had to adapt and find other ways to do it. But that doesn't mean that art is not worth doing.
That's true. Yeah. It's all about growing with yourself, but using that medium to help you grow as well. Yeah, that song would pop up all the time. And I would just go with the flow, so to speak. You know, my hand didn't always want to do what my brain wanted it to do. And I used to be so detail oriented too. I used to draw very tightly rendered lines, and I would sit for hours literally looking at dirt and drawing the dirt. That's how detail oriented I wanted to be. But after MS, I couldn't really concentrate that much, and my hand just couldn't do it. My brain couldn't make my hand do it either. So I didn't have that. Anyway, so I had to adapt, and that's okay. I just kept on going. And I think that's the biggest thing, is that we keep on learning how to adapt.
And you know what, Hannah? MS brain, chemo brain, cog fog, it's just all fog.
It's all fog.
We all deal with it. It's all a fog.
Exactly. It's all fog.
There's something really powerful when you get, like, I have MS like Hannah, and my mother had cancer. My brother and my father both have MS. There's something, it almost feels like a betrayal, where suddenly things that you used to love to do, you can't necessarily do them anymore. And there's this part of you that thinks, no, you can't take this too. So I remember it was last year, I was able to start crocheting again for the first time since 2019. And that was incredible to me, because I hadn't been able to do it for so long, and now I can do it again. And just the feeling of knowing that MS didn't take that from me too, it just did wonders.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm really happy you got back into it, Lucinda. And I'm glad that MS didn't stop you from trying altogether too.
I have too much yarn to stop trying.
Yeah, you got to do something with it, right? I love it. Thank you. And just so you guys know, I'm on the last set of mountains. So I'm going to try to have more pointier peaks for this part. Maybe a little bit taller too. Like I can really stretch this one up if I really wanted to, like that. And if you wanted to use the color in its purest form, I'm just dipping my brush straight into blue. You can certainly do that. This brush is called a round brush, but I call it a pointy brush for a reason, because you can literally just make lots of points by pointing it in the direction that you want it to go, like that. So take advantage of the shape of the brush. And I'm literally just going straight into my blue. Although I could mix a little orange in mine. I probably should have done that. And we're going all the way down to the bottom. Just go back and forth. Now, after this, for those of you guys who are wanting to add a little color to your clouds, we can do that. But again, that is optional. You decide. Yay. Well, I'm done with my mountains. So maybe in another minute or so, I'll move on to color in the clouds.
I see so much hard work. I love it.
I do. Me too. Yay. I cannot wait to see the finished pieces.
And Hannah, I want to mention real quick while everyone's working, they can ruminate on this. I heard a rumor from you directly that you are taking ideas for the next class. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes. I want to hear your feedback because I have my ideas of what the next class and the last class should be. But, you know, if there's a certain type of medium that you've always wanted to try, let me know. Please let me know. If you don't want to say it out loud right here, we'll have a question in the follow-up form as well, but you're welcome to type it in the chat or just tell me directly right now. And just so you guys know, I'm thinking of, for the next class, a strong possibility of doing a pen project. So I would send you guys, and I wish I had an example for you, but I don't, but we'd be able to create shapes and then make little patterns within those shapes. If you've ever heard of Zentangle, it'll be similar to Zentangle, but basically make patterns. And if you have issues with hand movements, then you can totally say, no, I don't want to do that project. That's okay. But I also think that I can send we can do this project with Sharpie markers as well, and markers. So Sharpie markers and regular markers and pen.
And we can also send you adaptive aids for those as well.
Yes.
So you can grip easier or it can become thicker. So that's not an issue.
Yeah, exactly. But if that's not a project you want to do, that's okay. Another thing that was on the table was watercolors too.
Yeah.
I heard a yes there.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was pretty
Watercolors.
enthusiastic.
Well, I've been playing with it, but I have not perfected it. I need to learn how to do it properly.
Yeah, no, that's totally fine too. I would probably send you guys like a watercolor pan if we did watercolors. And I have some ideas we could either do, if we went that route, we could either do landscape or something similar to Chinese calligraphy. So all things that you guys are absolutely capable of doing.
Yeah, and I want everyone to know that as soon as we log off of here, we are still accessible. It's Alexa at AnCan.org or Hannah at AnCan.org. Feel free if you're redoing this project and you're like, I have a question, Hannah would be happy to answer it. And if you have any ideas or anything, just send them to us. We want them. So we just want to put that plug in while the paint's just sort of drying. And are we ready to put color?
Yeah, I think so. We can do that. So as far as choosing which colors to use, I think that the most realistic colors to go with would be the colors that you see, that you have at the very top there. So blue for this one, for example, or purple for this one. You can see the purple here. You've got purple in the middle, which connects your sky. and the mountains down here, these are purpley mountains. So it all sort of flows and fits very nicely if you do it that way. However, I think it would also be totally okay if you put yellow or orange as well, or even pink, honestly, just any colors really. But if you want to go the more realistic route, choose the darker colors. For those, I'm going to move back into my toothbrush. However, if you find that using the brush was a lot easier for the clouds, I'd like for you to move back to that. But I'm going to move to toothbrush, and I gotta rinse mine off. So let me do that. So for mine, I'm going to use blue. And I'm going to soften the contrast between the two colors, because of course, obviously white is going to be much lighter than the blue here. So I'm going to soften it a little bit first by adding some white to some of my blue, just kind of swirling it around right here on my canvas. It's being done very crudely, not really paying too much attention to it. Then I'm going to take that mixed color and start to swirl, start in the middle. Start in the middle. Retrace your steps if you need to. I'm going to use once again, just the edge of my brush.
So Hannah, I'm a little confused because, of course, I have
Oh,
MS, and I don't have real paint. You know what? I don't have real paint anyway. So what is it and I'm like looking at my thing and then trying to go that, what am I trying to do? I mean, I'm not able to do,
let me see. I'm trying to find your screen. I can't find your screen, Karen.
I'm right next to you on my screen.
Oh, let's see. Since you're talking, you should have showed up. Oh, here we go. There you go, Karen.
It's hard to show the picture. Oh, because I have a background. I'll do that.
Yeah, I think so.
What exactly? I'll take the background off because it'll probably be easier. But what exactly are you trying to do now? Because I'm not. Mine is abstract anyway. Because I couldn't even figure out where to move the color palettes from. What exactly are you trying to do now? Again.
So we're adding the color to the clouds. It really just depends on whether or not you want to do that in the first place. But because I chose blue as my last color at the very top here, I'm using blue to put into my clouds here. And that just makes it a little bit more realistic.
Okay, so look at what I got, Hannah.
There we go. I can see it. Oh, Karen, you did so good.
But, so I'm not sure what I don't kind of want to mess it up, but what can I add?
Oh man, I love that, Karen. So what can you add? Let me see.
I finally figured out how to get the palette away from the canvas. The colors.
No, I love that you did all of that on your tablet. Let's see. So the mountains,
I don't even know how to use, but what can I? Yeah, what can I do to like not ruin it?
You know what? I actually love the shape and I love the fluffiness of your clouds. Can you maybe make one of them bigger? Like, what do you think about that?
Probably because I wasn't even making clouds. I was just like throwing some wet fake paint on it.
That's funny. No, if you maybe just do that, that might be all you need, honestly. So, okay, so for me, I'm going to add more of that blue. For anybody else who's a little further than me, you're more than welcome to add the darker version of your blue. So I've got my brush here with the mixed color, and I'm going to tap a little bit of that blue, just blue, and just in the middle here, I'm going to add some of that. A little bit of this will go a long way. I'm just going to add it in just some areas. And the reason I did this portion is because if you really take a look at clouds, the darkest portion of the cloud, not always, but at least when I was looking at the clouds, the darkest portion was in the middle of those floofs right there. So in the middle of these floofs here. So I don't need a whole lot. Don't need a lot at all. And I will add blue to this one down here. I'm just very loosely, very quickly going with it. And I probably won't add too much more than that, honestly. Now for me, I wanted to make these floofs a little lighter because I think I added a little bit too much blue to it. So I compensated by adding just white right on top of it. Art is always about a compromise. And so that's how I try to compromise. So adding white on those areas that I feel have a little bit too much blue. There. And I think I'm done.
Except for the final part.
Oh, signature? Is that what you mean?
Signature.
Signature, yes. Okay, so you are more than welcome to use the round brush that you have at your disposal, or you can use a Sharpie marker, whichever you're more comfortable with, whichever you want to do. Honestly, whatever color you want to do too. If you happen to be using the round brush to make your signature, water is going to help you. You'll be able to dilute the paint just enough to actually create that signature, or write your name out, whatever you want to do. I always like to turn my brush in my watery paint pile right here, twist it. See how I'm doing that? Twist it. It helps to keep the bristles pointy. And there we have it.
All right, Hannah, it is now time. I'm going to remove your spotlight because it is time for my favorite part and your favorite part.
Yes.
Go for it. And that is where we see your work. And I'm trying to find you so I can remove the spotlight.
Yes, I can remove my own pin. There you go.
There you go. Okay, now we're gallery view.
Yeah.
And we would love to see what you made.
Yes, please feel free to hold it all up.
Misty
Carrie
and
Matt. Beautiful. Misty, oh my gosh, that's gorgeous. Misty, that is beautiful. Matthew, I love your clouds too.
Barbara.
And your mountains, Terry, they're beautiful. Wow. Amina, I think that brush really did a lot for you. You're like everything, the whole sky looks beautifully blended. Everyone here.
Avery. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Seriously, the contrast is awesome. That's beautiful.
And Mike, oh my gosh, Mike, I love the way you did it.
Heather, I love the sky. You really made it your own.
Oh my gosh. Every time I want to cry, I feel like we get more and more like we're proud parents.
I know. Yes, that's it. That's how I describe that.
Yes, guys. Oh my gosh.
Yes,
what a great job.
beautiful.
And Tom, did you hold yours up?
Lucinda, I love it. April, beautiful.
Oh, Tom, that's amazing.
Can I give you a little, like a snippet, a musical thing of, it's like I have MS and I can't play my instruments anymore. And then this song's been kind of going through my head while I'm painting, and it's just, I still have joy. I still have joy after all the things I've been through. I still have joy. I still have joy. I still have joy after all the things I've been through. I still have joy.
Karen, you're gonna make me cry. Stop it. I love it. Oh my God, thank you, Karen.
That's good.
Guys,
That's good.
Thank
I
you.
know.
Thank you for
so
this envelope address.
I had to. I had to.
I love it.
I had to.
Hannah, so I'm going to stop the recording. So I want to tell the
Yeah.
people on the recording, thank you so much for joining us. And Hannah, I appreciate it. If you need anything, please reach out, Alexa at ancan.org, Hannah at ancan.org, and we'd be
Got
happy
it.
to help. Thank you.